Give us a brief synopsis of the Pink Slippers.
Well, as you say, it's a Cinderella story. It's about a nun who is an orphan. She's taken in by the church. So in a way, she feels obligated to stay on and take holy orders. And all of a sudden, in a moment of truth, she is in the maternity ward where she's a maternity sister, and she puts on the pink slippers of a woman who's still recovering from having had a little girl, and she realizes that she shouldn't be here anymore. And so in an extremely dramatic moment, she makes a decision which she then carries out, and so she goes into a normal life and is married, becomes a mother, and then there's a cycle where she actually returns to the same place where she started off from. So I don't want to spoil all the plot of it, but that's basically
you've got to go and
the
buy
story.
it if you want to read the rest of it. But for me, the fact that you used a nun, I mean, you know, I didn't see it coming. And once I said I kind of had to deal with the ideas and the notions that I have about people of the cloth. And the fact that you took a nun and made her kind of the one who not really turns her back, because she eventually ends up where she started, but there's a brief spell where she turns her back on that life and decides, I want to be normal like everybody else. What was the reaction from other people that read the book?
Well, I find people a bit reluctant to give a comment, but from my point of view, I was given the story, which I don't say in the novel, that it was actually based on a true story. And the story in itself was just so amazing that I thought it can only work this way if it works as a complete breakaway, as a rebellion against the mores of the church. And yet at the same time, she does embark on a spiritual journey. So that journey is the long walk, is the grail. And she actually comes to a spiritual conclusion. So it's quite ironic in a way that she's leaves the church, and yet she is so part of the church in the end.
There's a beautiful development that happens with your character from her understanding of one sense, and then life happens, and then she gets to this place. And in one aspect, we're not even talking about the betrayal of the son yet, but we're just talking about her development as a character and how she grows. When you were related that story, did you have to fill in the color? Was that related completely to you, or did you have to kind of find within yourself as the creator a sense of how this character would have felt and how she would have developed?
You're absolutely right. You got it spot on. Yes, I was simply giving the bare bones of a story, and so I had to flesh it out and get into the mind and the responses of this character, and then follow her on her journey. And that was the challenge, to make it really
real and relatable.
Exactly, and that people could actually feel that they could follow with this, and it was a grail really, because it had a purpose, and in the end, there's almost the shining light, shall we say. So perhaps the optimistic ending is not always the ending for the 21st century, but why not? I think that the story had its challenges, and with that interweaving of the Cinderella theme, it makes it very real to people, because they understand entirely. Cinderella puts on the glass slippers, and so she's transformed. And in the same way as the nun puts on the fluffy pink slippers, she is transformed, and her life is transformed accordingly. And then those other details fit in along the way.
What is this last question, because we've run out of time, but what is the journey, Pamela, you want the reader to go on?
It really is the woman's journey through the various stages of her life. Her marriage, her dealing with her children, of course the betrayal of her son, and ultimately into her old age, when she can actually develop spiritually.
And also, at the end of it, get a better sense of herself.
Correct.
When she reflects. Pamela, we're going to leave it there, but thank you very much for joining me. It's available in all good bookstores. You can go onto Amazon.com, I think it is.
That's correct.
And you can find your copies there. Go and support local art. This is a great read. Fantastic Sunday read for you. It's called The Pink Slippers by Pamela Heller Stern. If you've read it, let us know what you think. Morning Live at SABC.